Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, a Marvel's Avengers podcast. We talk all things Marvel's cinematic universe, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new slate of shows and TV coming out in theaters and on Disney Plus. And this is our preview episode. We're looking out at the year ahead to get you ready, get you excited to watch some Marvel. My name is Emmanuel, and we've got a guest. It's, let's see, what phase are you in of your life, Brent? We're talking phase 1 through 5.
I was gonna make a pretty dark joke, but I won't.
Really?
No, I think I'm also in my, no, let's keep it clean. I'm in my 32nd phase. A year. I got a yearly
you count
phase
each
cycle.
year phase.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm still in phase 1, I think. I'm still assembling the Avengers.
I agree.
I mean, it's weird when we talk Marvel because there is no definitive endpoint. There's Endgame, which was amazing and capped off the first couple dozen films, but
more of a comma than a period?
More than a comma. Yeah, it's crazy how we are in at this point. I'm trying to do the math in my head. The 15th year of the MCU. At this point?
God, yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah.
Ooh. And here we are. We're going to talk about the movies coming out. There's 3 movies this year. We're going to talk in release order. And that means we're going to have a couple Disney Plus shows in between that we'll be discussing. But Brent, just overall, how do you feel about the MCU? Because there's a lot of worry out there that it's not home runs every time at bat for the MCU like it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and there are some swings and some misses and some base on balls. Let's see, what other baseball things do I know?
On balls? Balls on base?
Balls on base? Base on ball? No, you get a base on balls.
Oh, wait. You're right. Yeah, when you get walked. Let's talk about baseball.
Let's talk about baseball. America's pastime. But you get what I'm saying. Some of these movies are balls. And some of them are strikes.
They got walked on. Sure.
Well, how do you feel about the MCU?
Listen, man, it's been around, like you pointed out, since I was, I've already said how old I am, I guess, too. 17 years old. And so, like,
half
I really have done, half my life. That is an insane thing that, crazy. But,
is it the most consistent thing in your life? Because now that I'm looking back, I'm like, it might be.
Yes, I think absolutely.
Oh boy.
We got to question some things.
I know, this is a therapy session now. Why are we doing this pod?
Oh no.
No, go.
I've gone to see every movie. I've watched every show so far. Just double checking. We are in a lot of quantity now. That's why when you said 3 movies this year, I was like, only 3. Because we got 4 last year and then a ton of shows. I think we're still getting a lot of shows this year. You'll probably get into that. We'll get into that, I guess. But I mean, listen, man, like I'm still really enjoying it. I think that, I think there are some people who are really doom and gloom about the MCU stuff right now, but I think it's to be expected after something as final and complete as Endgame felt. And I think that what's happening now is MCU is kind of like reconfiguring things as they kind of begin a new phase, right? New era, basically, because it's kind of the beginning of like a whole kind of new era for the MCU with some old friends along the way and stuff. But so I think they're figuring it out. Are there things that I have liked less than others? Definitely. But, I think that there is still that kind of consistent base level of like, I'm going to have a pretty good time on this thing. And I've pretty much enjoyed like every, recent thing that they've put out. So I'm looking forward to see what things get shaken up and what new friends get added and all sorts of stuff this year. Yeah.
I like that you call them friends, Brent. That's nice. It makes me feel like
I just clocked that the second time I did it. Why did I was like, why am I saying friends instead of characters? I feel like they're not really my friends. I know that. I know that they're not my friends.
You're digging a hole, Brent. Oh. I know they don't know me, but I know them.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm like their best friend, but they're not like my best friend. Okay, so there are 6 TV series coming out this year,
Whoa.
3 movies.
Wow.
We're going to get into it. I guess we'll kick it off with what is coming out the soonest, and that is a film called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's releasing February 17th, 2023. Kind of we talked about how the MCU has been around for so long. That Valentine's Day area of the schedule is sort of an MCU time to shine. They always have something releasing there. That's when I think Black Panther came out originally. But Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, this is the third trilogy complete now for Peyton Reed, who is directing this one. Everyone is back. Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly. There is his daughter plays a main role of this. There's a trailer that came out, and I think most people are just excited to be in kind of the quantum realm, and specifically to spend a little bit of time with Brent's friend, Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors, which I believe is maybe one of the biggest draws for this movie, because he was in Loki set up as one of the major. I mean, they announced an Avengers movie named after him.
Yeah.
What do you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania? Are you excited for it, and what are you kind of looking forward to?
Yeah, I am pretty excited for it for basically the reasons that you said. Like the quantum realm is really exciting. I'm excited to see, and I don't know the actress's name, but like Scott Lang, right? Yeah, Scott Lang's daughter,
Lang.
his like aged up daughter is going to be kind of like having adventures with them now. That's going to be
Cassie Lang,
Cassie,
played by
right,
Catherine Newton. They recast her.
Yeah, they didn't want to have a young girl playing like an older teen. But yeah. So I'm excited to see like that dynamic, and like, you know, her being kind of like older, and like he was away for 5 years, and I hope that they didn't just brush past a lot of the kind of like stuff since Endgame, although they probably will have to, I guess, due to the timeline of when the movie takes place. But yeah, the big thing for me too is Kang and is Jonathan Majors, because I think he's one of the most exciting actors working right now. He's so good in everything, and I loved him in Loki as Kang at the end. I think that like for what was asked of him, which is it was honestly a pretty insane and probably daunting to him task to be like, okay, and then at the very final episode of this whole season of TV, he's going to walk into a room and you're just going to be there and you're going to talk to him. And that's kind of how the show is going to end. But he killed it, and he's a really interesting character with what we've seen of him so far. Like a more, I don't know. I think he's going to be a more complex character than Thanos. Thanos was pretty cut and dry. They kind of took that.
He got to get those. He got to get those stones.
He's got to get those rocks. They cut out the death plot from the comics and stuff. And Kang seems like he's going to be a kind of slightly more interesting guy. And Jonathan Majors, I think, is going to kill it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Kang, I think, in one of the, I mean, we talked about Thanos, but Thanos was kind of this outsized specter that you got glimpses of since Avengers, the first Avengers movie. And then it led up to, you know, giant films and stories and conclusions. And Kang the Conqueror, in theory, is an even bigger foe. And I'm really interested to know how they introduce like variants. Like, I feel like that's such a hard sci-fi thing to introduce in the MCU to be like, well, the character, there's infinite versions of that person, and I don't know how that will play over with the general audience. But I'm excited to be in the quantum realm and kind of mess around with all those interesting germs, because we're in the microscopic universe. Brent, what's your favorite germ?
My favorite germ is probably microbacteria. That's my favorite little germ friend.
There's the one that looks like a bear. Oh yeah, tardigrade.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones everyone knows and
tardigrades
loves.
Are rad.
Can't wait to see a couple tardigrades. I'm sure they will be in the quantum realm. But that one we don't have to wait long for, because
next month.
Look, We're talking about next month. Yeah. So
Wow.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, that will be out. And also good for Peyton Reed. He got 3 MCU movies done.
Yeah, dude. I think he's a great director with a really good track record, and I've really enjoyed his Ant-Man movies. I think he
Yeah.
has like a kind of lightness. So far, this one seems like it might be getting a little darker
A little dark.
from the trailer, at least. But yeah, they're a little lighter than I think some of the other MCU things, and I kind of like that
Yeah.
aspect of it. So yeah.
Interesting how he, and we'll talk about this when the movie comes out, but interesting how he kind of shepherded the Ant-Man franchise, taking over for Edgar Wright in that super weird, controversial beginning. And now
Right.
he's wrapping up the third one. Kind of cool to see that. Okay, we're gonna switch from film, and again, some of these don't have hard release dates, so I'm putting them in an order. It's just because we have things that we know, like it's gonna come out in early 2023. So we assume that's like January, February.
Yeah.
But the next thing that we assume will come out is the 9 episodes second season of the animated series What If.
Oh.
It's I mean, you know him, you love him, the Watcher, who kind of has these interesting, very like one shot singular stories that I was surprised all came together at the end of the first season of What If. I'll be interested to know whether it happens in the second season, but are you excited for more What If, Brent? More Marvel zombies maybe, or I don't know. I mean, Marvel has Marvel apes. There's all kinds of things they can dip into.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for What If because it just feels like I mean it's in the name really like it's fun little like what if scenarios of our favorite friends
Yeah.
and stories and what if things were different. A lot of times they have kind of gotten into like fan theories or like fan concepts and stuff like that, with like Peggy Carter, Captain America, stuff like that. And I think the animation is really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to see like what areas of the MCU they're kind of exploring in the next one.
There is one episode that they have announced already, and it's what if Captain Carter fought the Hydra Stomper? And
Okay.
there's a little bit of a spoiler in the description, so I won't read it.
Oh
But we
shit.
know Captain Carter's back, which is really interesting. And then, of course, like they won the Emmy last year. Chadwick Boseman won a posthumous Emmy
That is
and
so wild.
didn't get snubbed like the Oscars
Yeah.
for his role in What If. But What If season 2?
Anthony Hopkins didn't win it.
No, luckily he did not voice anyone in SpongeBob, or else
Yeah.
who
For
knew?
his guest role in Peppa Pig, Anthony
I know.
Hopkins.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if he's a Peppa Pig. That actually might.
He probably has been. Yeah.
Yeah. As Peppa. Okay, another show that will be coming out, assumingly before the summer, is Secret Invasion. That's coming out in the early part of 2023 as well. There was a trailer for this that premiered recently. This stars Samuel L. Jackson and Ben Mendelsohn. I mean, it's going to be centered around what's left of Shield and the characters like Nick Fury and Maria Hill that exist, and then also probably heavy on Skrulls. Skrulls who we were introduced to in Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. Ben Mendelsohn is back as Talos, the leader of the Skrull sect. So imagine a lot of shape shifting. Other people that are confirmed in this cast, in case you just didn't know anything and wanted to know whether you should watch it, but Don Cheadle, Martin Freeman are in the show, reprising their roles from the MCU, and then we will get to see Emilia Clarke and Olivia Colman in the MCU. They joined the MCU in Secret Invasion.
That's
This
so
is going to
wild.
be I mean, I don't even know how many episodes are going to be in this show. Sorry, it's a miniseries, so there'll be 6 episodes. But Secret Invasion seems like a lot of like shape shifting fun, and Olivia Colman. I mean,
Yeah.
that's going to be really awesome in the MCU.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm really that. I think that's one of my most anticipated MCU projects this year. Just because, like many, of the MCU projects, where we're at now in the stories and what things they've already explored and what they haven't yet. A lot of the things coming out now, I don't know what they're going to be about and what they're going to explore. Like But Secret Invasion, I know, is a really famous
Hmm.
series of comics.
I'm kind of surprised it's not like a bigger movie or something, but a
Yeah,
show, six
yeah,
episodes, that's a long time, actually.
yeah,
Longer
yeah,
than a movie.
and yeah. I'm curious to see like what the effects of this are on the MCU. But yeah, I like that it looks like a kind of spy espionage thing.
Yeah.
Love getting more Mendelsohn as Talos. I think he was so good in Captain Marvel. So yeah, that one's really high on the list.
Okay, so that'll be pretty big, and we'll talk about that. Of course, we'll probably go episode by episode or something. But before we get to the next movie, another season of Loki will be coming out in the summer of this year. Loki, which is one of, I think, Disney Plus's biggest successes, partially because of the return of Tom Hiddleston as Loki, a character that just will never die in the MCU, apparently. Even when he dies, he goes to the TVA. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the second season. They've got some new directors that I'm excited about. A lot of like genre directors from like VHS and stuff are doing
Ooh.
this episodes. Of course, like a lot of people from Rick and Morty are working on the show. But where they left off in Loki season 1 is so wild because this might, I mean, gosh, like the variances and the divergence and the time stream and the TVA and the fact that there's Kang is the one who remains is in the show. What are you looking forward to in Loki season 2?
Yeah, I loved the first season of Loki. I think it was so much fun.
Time Cop.
Uh, yeah, it's just like having silly time fun, jumping around in variances. His variant, the Loki variant, that was with him. God, what was her name? Sophie. What was her name? I forgot her
I
name.
think so. I think you're right. Let me double check.
But yeah, I assume she'll be back. I think they had a really great rapport. And yeah, I love the kind of design of the show.
Sylvie.
Sylvie, okay,
But
somewhat.
the actor's name is Sophia. So
Oh, there you go. I was kind of close.
yeah.
And yeah, like the rapport between him, her, and then like Owen Wilson, I think as an addition is really fun too. Just like the world of the what's the headquarters called again?
TVA.
TVA, that's right. Is really cool and a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm excited to see more adventures there for sure.
Really good. It's just solid science fiction stuff,
Mhm.
which is cool. And I was never really worried about a lot of these shows rely on their connection to the broader MCU. It's almost like you're waiting for cameos or to figure out
Yeah,
how this plays into a bigger thing. And Loki is one of the shows that kind of stands on its own, and they're in that. I mean, you don't even know what time period they're in, or they're in like this weird limbo world, which is fun because they get to travel through time, but also to different planets and places and dimensions and stuff. So it's a good show that I think is like not a limited series. I mean, season 2 means it's not. So who
yeah.
knows? It could just go on forever and ever. But yeah, excited for Loki, and Tom Hiddleston, of course, is like
Oh
great.
yeah, one of the best MCU
For sure.
performers
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
And in OG, well, let's go to the theatre. So in the summer of this year, the MCU always picks a big summer movie to release, and there's also it's always a show of strength. I think when a movie comes out in the summer for the MCU because there's so much competition. There's an Indiana Jones movie this year. There's another Dune movie, and this year I'm not worried about the MCU movie because it is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, another trilogy completed by James Gunn, the new head of DC Studios, the rival studios. I think this is going to be really fun because a lot of the press junket is going to be asking about when the Snyder Cut comes out. But
Oh boy. Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy, I think, stands even apart from the rest of the MCU movies as one of those cultural movies. Kind of one of the biggest surprises when the original Guardians of the Galaxy comes out. Now James Gunn is like a household name, but
Yeah.
he was a pretty unknown before Guardians. And the fact that it's a movie franchise that has an identity in the MCU, like you expect really great dialogue, fun music, like kind of some ironic scenes to happen, in a way.
Yeah.
Good Groot moments, some great space stuff going on. We saw this even in the holiday
And a
special,
lot of
but
heart.
a lot of heart, so
Yeah.
much humanity, I think, in his stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3? Is this just gonna be maybe the highest grossing movie of the year, you think?
I think it is going to kill, definitely. And I think it's probably my most anticipated MCU thing this year, just
Yeah.
because it's been a long time coming. Like, when was two? Was it 2017?
It's been a really long
It has
time.
been quite a while.
And 2017, and the original was 2014. And let's be honest, the journey to this movie was long and hard, especially for James Gunn, who was fired, went and did something else, came back, and then
Was
became in
he?
charge of
Yeah, he
another
was fired after two came
two.
out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wow, I did not
It's
realize
been a
it's
long
still
five
been
years. Yeah.
that long. Holy cow! Yeah, but I'm excited to see, like, because the way he's always talked about it is like, he has like an ending for a trilogy for the characters, and I think that,
Hmm.
like, I'm excited to see what that is. I think, are there going to be some tears shed? Probably. Hopefully, it's not too sad. But
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really, really good, and I can't wait.
They're leaning on that hard too. The first trailer we saw has a lot of those moments kind of filtered in there, especially with like Rocket and Groot, and you
Yeah.
see stuff that you're just like, oh my god,
Characters crying, like
are they
every
telling what are
guardian
they telling
crying at a
me?
certain
Yeah.
point. Yeah,
So I mean, I hope it's just a subversion and we're not like seeing
yeah,
the finale of the movie in the trailers, but there's always something really special when a story ends and it's a big driver towards people, watching it. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this might be my most anticipated too. Really excited for it. Okay. After that, there's still three more shows releasing.
oh my
So
gosh,
in late 2023. Again, no dates yet. We'll get to revisit Riri Williams in her own show, Ironheart. We saw her in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. This comes from like a lot of really talented people who haven't worked in the MCU before and worked on like YouTube series and stuff like that. We got hints of Ironheart or Riri Williams like past in Black Panther. We saw her at school, but she talks about her dad and her kind of her interest in creating machines, and she's the
yeah,
spiritual successor to Iron Man. And we do know also that Anthony Ramos portrays the Hood, which is like a big character for Ironheart. Are you excited for this TV show? Or and also, what do you think about them? Like, I don't know, kind of already giving her a backstory.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting because, like, I assume it's not going to be an origin thing, which
Yeah,
I'm all for that at this stage in MCU stuff. Just like kind of starting after the kind of origin, but then again, it's a character that not a lot of people know the origin of, so I could see them being like getting into that too, maybe showing
yeah.
some flashbacks. But I'm excited. I really like the actress a lot, and I'm excited to see kind of like where they go in her show, because I know nothing really about Ironheart. Like most of these
She's
new,
new.
yeah,
Yeah,
she's very new, like in terms of like the real
the
world,
comics.
like yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of these new characters, like Ironheart's one of them. I'm like, yeah, like let's see what you got. Like, I'm excited to see what that show is.
Well, right around that time, another show is premiering as well. Also, a character that was kind of back in the day they called it a backdoor pilot when a character from a show got their own spinoff. Like the Golden Palace was a show that came out after the Golden Girls. As
Gosh.
like it just happened all the time. Well,
Yeah,
anyways, the backdoor pilot from Hawkeye was for Echo, Alaqua Cox playing Maya Lopez. This was a huge thing because it's Vincent D'Onofrio playing Wilson Fix from the Daredevil universe, and Charlie Cox, and all that we know now is coming back. But Echo is an interesting character, a deaf Native American who's the son of or daughter of a crime lord. She's coming out with her own show later this year. I'm really interested by the show because it seems like there was kind of an ending for her in Hawkeye. And there's not much known about it. Like, we don't even know how many episodes it's going to be, but it's coming out later this year. I mean, I assume we're going to get more and more Daredevil stuff closer to the Born Again series coming out next year, and this seems
Oh,
like
that's next
it's a
year.
part of it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Well, who knows? Maybe they shoot it really quick and then just get it
I
out.
guess you're right. I guess I did hear 24. Yeah.
But Murdoch and D'Onofrio, sorry, and Kingpin, I think they will be in the show. It's kind of unavoidable. It's such a big
Yeah.
part of Echo. Yeah, we'll be seeing a little bit more of kind of characters that we just met.
Yeah, for sure. I think that'll be interesting to see. Because I too was kind of like I thought we kind of got you know, some a bit of finality, I guess, to Echo in that show. And what I would hate is like it's awesome that like Daredevil and Kingpin are gonna, potentially be in her show, but it's like I also it would kind of suck to like have them kind of pull a Mandalorian in Boba Fett type scenario where like they
Yeah,
kind of come in, swing in, and kind of like steal the
here's
thunder a
a
little bit. But
yeah.
but yeah, I'm excited to see like what that show is for sure.
All right, let's go back to the theaters.
Oh
There's two summer movies this year, and interesting, no fall movie for the MCU unless something happens. But this is kind of a big unknown for me. I really don't know much about this. We haven't seen anything, and it's a new young director, but premiering in July of 2023, the end of July, is The Marvels, which is a continuation of Carol Danvers or Captain Marvel's story, played by Brie Larson. This one is a team 'em up though, because not only is Captain Marvel in it, but Iman Vellani is back playing Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. Tiana Paris is back as Monica Rambeau. Samuel L. Jackson is in it. There's a lot of people that are, I assume, not yet announced that are going to be in this movie as well. But it's helmed by Nia DaCosta, who we just watched and talked about Candyman last year when that movie came out. But
yeah,
she's she's a Sundance director, and they've had some good runs in the MCU. What do you think about The Marvels?
yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm way more excited for it than I was, especially after seeing Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think is it Iman Vellani? Is that
Yeah,
her name?
yeah,
She like
she was great.
her and like Miss Marvel are probably like my favorite MCU character now, like in the present, especially in like the new like Young Avengers crew. I think she's so great and so endearing and such a cool character for the MCU to have, and so charming and funny. But yeah, and so I think that, and especially with where they left off at the end of Miss Marvel, which I assume is going to lead right into
For sure.
uh, you know
Yeah,
the Marvels, which I think is so fun because if you just do some quick math and think like, oh wait, if Brie Larson, I'm not Brie, Carol Danvers is in her bedroom, is she just going to be like on some planet somewhere
yeah,
all of a
and
sudden?
and it's going to
And
happen often. It sounds like.
yeah, I guess so. So like that is a really fun concept for a like team up movie where they're like all swapping around or like
Yeah,
just I'm so curious to see like what is going on there. But yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
yeah. I'm Nia DaCosta said that, which is really interesting to me, that this is the most freedom she's ever had making a movie creatively, considering
Whoa.
she's made like independent films and stuff. I wonder how far this goes and what new things we'll see, because it's going to be yeah, I think that's a great premise for what the movie is going to be like and maybe where some of the hijinks is. But at some point, how do they connect, and what is the yeah, Captain Marvel's always interesting because she is very, very powerful. So you almost
Yeah.
don't know what can defeat her, and it
I
may just be
yeah.
something that limits her so much, not so much like
It's
kryptonite.
yeah. And I think her character benefits a lot by having Miss Marvel potentially around. And I think,
Hmm.
honestly, I think Brie Larson as like an actress would probably benefit too, having like someone like her to kind of bounce off of.
Yeah.
Because I think We don't have to get too much into it, but I think Brie Larson is a really great actress, and she's so charismatic and wonderful. But I think like she really shines in movies where she can like play off people and
Yeah, for
like
sure.
especially like younger people. I think her and Iman are going to be really great in that movie.
And they're hanging out a lot. I think you can see like behind the scenes that they're having a great time
Yeah, yeah.
together. But it's just exciting to see her in any movie, to be honest with you, because Brie Larson, look, she got that sweet Emmy Gold with The Room, but she hasn't necessarily been in a ton of
Oscar Gold.
movies. That sweet Oscar Gold.
Yeah.
But she was in like I'm looking at her recent credits, and she was in Shang-Chi, Between Two Ferns, the movie, Just
Right.
Mercy. Then it's Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, Kong Skull Island. Like most of that is in the MCU, and I know she's going to be in the new Fast and Furious movie.
Oh, right.
But I mean, I like that she's taking it easy. I bet her life is great right now. But she's
She's
not.
like a YouTuber now. She has like a fun
Oh,
YouTube
really?
channel.
She's
Yeah.
just chilling. So I'm excited to see her in a movie. Okay, for the final thing we'll talk about is honestly something I'm really, really, really excited about. Might be the most excited I am about any show coming out this year. And that is a spin-off, another backdoor pilot from one of the MCU's most successful shows, and that's Agatha Coven of Chaos. Jack
Oh.
Schaefer, who worked on WandaVision, is back. I'm Marvel's really high on this show, but Catherine Hahn is back playing Agatha Harkness. We just saw her in Glass Onion. She was nominated for an Emmy for this role. But the most important thing for me is the fact that there's a new cast that's adding Sashir Zameda, who's really hilarious from SNL's here. Patty LaPone is going to be in the show as well, and so will
Whoa.
Aubrey Plaza. So
Oh,
this
right.
show,
Oh,
Agatha Coven of Chaos, will be incredible. And I'm really excited because we're talking about witches, and Catherine Hahn's going to do her Agatha All Along thing. It's going to be a really fun show. Are you excited for Agatha Coven of Chaos?
yeah, dude. I had forgotten about that one, and I forgot about that cast. But you're telling me Catherine Hahn, Patty LaPone, Aubrey Plaza gonna be playing
Mm,
witches? That sounds fucking great. Sign me
yeah,
up. That's gonna be fun, man. I hope, God, I hope Aubrey Plaza's playing the villain. I
that
just
would
feel
be
like that would be
crazy.
perfect.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
they do really well with the tone. I think from WandaVision to what I assume
yeah,
this show is really great. And when you have magic, you can't trust anything. And that's going to be really important too. I wonder if, I wonder, Agatha is such an interesting character in the MCU and in Marvel in general. And Catherine Hahn is so amazing that I mean, I would love for her to have an outsized role in
yeah.
whatever's leading up in the
Give
MCU.
Catherine Hahn whatever she wants.
Whatever she
Blank
wants.
check to Catherine Hahn. Let her do whatever. Put
I'm
her in
going
a
to
Star
recap.
Wars.
Do it. I'm going to recap the films and TVs we just talked about. But even though that was a lot of stuff, there's also things that could come out.
Yeah,
Like those MCU special presentations, they come out pretty fast and loose. So I wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised if around Halloween we find out that they had filmed something and it's just out now. Or that there's
They're cooking up a Labor Day special.
oh yeah, baby. You don't wear white. The films that we talked about that are coming out this year, so you can mark it on your calendars. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes out February 17th. Guardians of the Galaxy May 5th, and the Marvels July 28th. They don't have anything coming out in the fall, which is interesting. And then on your TV screens, which I like to call small movie
Spallman.
theater.
Yeah.
What If Season 2, Secret Invasion Season 1, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, Echo, Agatha, Coven of Chaos comes out. And Agatha, Coven of Chaos is not a miniseries, it's a full series. I'm really excited for the year. I guess we already kind of talked about it. You're really excited for Guardians and Loki?
Yeah, yeah. I think those are my most anticipated. Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, to be honest, before we started, I had thought that the new Daredevil show was dropping this year
They
because
pushed
that's
it.
going to be numero uno, baby.
You
Like,
know,
yeah,
I was like, why are they pushing it back? Because they pushed it back into next year. But I just saw the episode count, and they're darn near shooting 20 episodes of that show, and they're all going to be an hour long. So I get it. They
I
are
wonder if
going to be
they're going to
busy.
do. Oh man, the
That
kind of thing people were hoping for, which is like slightly more episodic, some like courtroom type stuff. Which I hope we need Murdoch in a courtroom in this new show, like much
yeah,
more of that because
we
it's such
finally
a
saw him in She-Hulk in a courtroom.
yeah, and it was great. So more of that. You're probably
Yeah, I
right
mean
though.
that I honestly, this is phase 5. Phase 5 is going to be this year and next year. So we'll talk about the stuff next year later on, but there's a new Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Blade. That's all the movies in phase 5, and then
Ooh.
there's going to be some other shows. But before next year, we got to get through this year. So stay tuned to Countdown to Infinity because we're going to be watching every episode of these shows. I don't know how we're to get through all of the Daredevil episodes because that is, if it's weekly, that's a lot. And then all of the movies as well. But Brent, thanks for helping us preview the entire year for our listeners. It seems like it's a
Yeah.
slog just talking about it. I can't imagine the fact that we're going to watch it all.
Putting in the man hours to watch all these things. Yeah, man. I appreciate
It's
you
crazy.
having me on to talk about these things. I'm gonna enjoy watching them. Pretty
Yeah.
cool. So looking.
What do you have to plug?
Oh man, I think just the Delphin Pod Patreon. So yeah, if you guys aren't subscribed to that, check it out. Manuel and I have all sorts of fun stuff on there. Top fives, Screen Slush, which is a show where we talk like new movies, new shows, old shows, all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. So check that out.
For sure. Well, stay tuned here on this pod where we'll talk about all the MCU stuff. Listen to all the shows on the Dolphin Pod Network. Thanks so much for listening. Hey, we're kicking off a new year. Happy New Year to you all. Can't
Yeah.
wait to see what this year brings. 2023. Is it any predictions for the year, Brett?
Uh,
Crypto? Get into
ooh,
crypto.
crypto
Buy it.
going way back up. Bye
Get
bye
it on the
bye.
ground floor. Bye, bye,
Doge
bye.
all in.
I heard about this thing called FTX, and let me just say,
Now's a
I don't know
good time
where
to
the
hop
money
on
comes from.
board.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.